All right, this is Mr. Reyes here to show you that math is a skill that you can learn. Okay, we aren't doing so much calculation today as we are just reading a lot. Okay, we're reading and we're thinking. That's part of life, that's part of math too. So, a researcher wants to know what fruit Americans prefer. Which of these is the least biased survey question? And I'm going to talk to you about why most of these are bad survey questions. Okay, so the first answer is, do you like apples the best? Now, this is not a good question, and here's why. It suggests an answer. If you ask someone, is your favorite superhero Iron Man? Instead of just asking them, what's your favorite superhero? Then more of them are just going to say yes, because you've already told them, like, you've hinted, hey, the right answer is Iron Man. You should choose Iron Man. And I can do this as a math teacher. If I say, do you seriously think the answer to that problem is five? Like, really? If I say stuff like that, then everyone's going to say, no, no, I don't think it's five. I don't think it's five, even if it's two plus three. Okay. And it's obviously five. Okay. So a lot of this has to do with how you're asking the question. You want an honest answer because you want to know what other people really think. You don't want to force them to think the way that you do. Um, at least not in the survey, you don't. Uh, so do you like apples the best? Not a good question because it gives them an answer. There's an answer in the question. Okay. So A is not a good choice. Do you like oranges even though they are nasty? Okay, so that gives some bias in the question. If you just read that and maybe you've never even had an orange, you're going to feel like, hey, oranges aren't very good. This person's saying they're nasty. That's a bias. You don't want that in your survey question. And then this one, I kind of alluded to this when I talked about my math problem. Do you seriously think pineapple's the best fruit? Like, that's hardly even a question because you're just like asking them to say, no, 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 sorry, leave me alone. Okay. Now, if this one, which fruit is your favorite? That's a good question. Does that make you want to choose a certain one? No, not really, unless it's actually your favorite. So D is the correct answer here. And here we have, which of these is the best sample? The sample is basically, who do you ask in your survey? What is the best sample if you're trying to find out the most popular video game among 16-year-olds? Asking random 16-year-olds at a Nintendo fan convention. Now that sounds kind of good because it says random, but the place you're asking them, it's a Nintendo convention. Of course they're going to like Nintendo games better. They're at the Nintendo convention. So you're not really asking random people, you're asking random fans of Nintendo. Okay, so that's not a good sample. Asking random 16-year-olds across the country. No, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. If you could ask random 16-year-olds across the whole world, that would be better because that's like everyone. But if it's limited to just the country, that's still pretty good. It's better than if you limit it to Illinois. If you just limit it to Calumet City, that's even smaller. The bigger the pool that you're pulling from, the better the question, the better the sample. So 16-year-olds across the country is good, but let's see what the next one is. Asking random 16-year-olds waiting in line for the release of NBA 2K22. No way. Because you're just asking people who obviously really like NBA 2K basketball games. So that would not be a good population to ask unless you just want the result to be that everyone likes NBA 2K basketball games. Um, and sometimes people do that. Sometimes people want their surveys to be biased, but they are dishonest people. They are not good people. You want an unbiased question. Random 16-year-olds across the country is going to be the best sample for you to really understand what game the most people like.